To my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. Thank you so much for stopping by. Subject of my vlog today is my visa run to Thailand is over. My final analysis. Before I get started, let me welcome my viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of my channel. It's truly been amazing. I never take that for granted. I'm back here in the Philippines, despite what anybody heard or what was going around. I'm back home, man. I'm happy. I did my visa run. I'm glad I chose Thailand, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. At the end of this video, don't turn it off, especially those who are interested in meeting Mr. Lee and maybe hiring him for your services, because I've got a little short video introducing him toward the end. It's a couple of reasons why I chose Thailand for my visa run. Number one, it was cheap. The ticket was fairly cheap, $272 for a round trip. I was there 5 days, really 4, because I arrived Sunday at midnight, so I consider that day over. The flight was short. Anybody who knows me knows I've got anxiety, man. I get, kind of crazy when it comes time to get on a plane, even though it was all in my mind, man. It was a smooth flight, no problems at all. As a matter of fact, I went online and looked up something that could calm me down, and they said, just take one Benadryl a couple of hours before your flight. I did that, a 50 milligram Benadryl. I wasn't high. It doesn't get you high or anything, but it kind of calms you down, and then later on it helps you sleep. And it was like a life-changing experience. It gave me like an aha moment. See, I've had tunnel vision over here. I never even thought about going anywhere but the Philippines. I love the Philippines so much. And now, when I look on the map, I looked at Thailand. I saw how close Ho Chi Minh City was, Malaysia, Bali. These places are all within like 3 or 4 hours from the Philippines. So it's going to open me up a little bit more to the area around here. That's one of the reasons I love the Philippines, because of where it's situated. This can be my base, but let me say this, and I titled my live stream yesterday, there's no better round trip ticket for your money than Philippines to Thailand to Philippines. You're leaving one paradise coming to another. Thailand is like a paradise. Philippines is like a tropical paradise. But I just want to kind of talk about some things, put Thailand back in its perspective, back on the shelf, and get on with my life over here in the Philippines. The first thing that I want to talk about is I just wasn't there enough time. It was not enough time. It's like I tell guys, when you come to the Philippines, you're way over here. Same as it is with Thailand. 1 week is not enough. I was there for really 4 days. That was the big mistake that I made. Had I known what I was going to run into over there, I probably would have stayed 30 days. I probably would have did more research and had Marilyn come with me. I would have renewed her passport a long time ago. We're in the process of doing that now, because the next time I want her to go with me. But it wasn't enough time, so don't do that to yourself. I would suggest 30 days. If you don't have 30 days, all you have is 2 weeks, then do the 2 weeks. But you definitely have to see Thailand for a lot of reasons. I'll touch on some of them today. But that's a must-see place. Just like the Philippines is a must-see place. Let's stop comparing Thailand and Philippines. Why do we compare the two anyway? I don't understand it. You can enjoy both. You can go to each one without putting the other one down. Now, yeah, you do want to do some comparisons if, number one, you decide, where am I going to spend my vacation money? If you only got 2 weeks and you got to choose between one or the other, then make the comparison. Or if you want to be an expat in the Philippines or Thailand. Obviously, you got to make that comparison, but make it only for those reasons. Remember, it's not like Thailand is in outer space. They're both here on Earth. And you can enjoy both. I think it's a stupid argument. I'm going to enjoy both. I'm going to have the best of both worlds because I've got an experience here in the Philippines I wouldn't trade for anything. And what I've discovered, as has a lot of other people discovered, usually the younger crowd likes Thailand, and then the older, more settled crowd likes the Philippines. Thailand is the nightlife, you can't compare that really to any place, to be honest with you. And then, that flesh market over there. Believe it or not, I'm a man, I'm 59, but I didn't really, that doesn't turn me on. It's more like a circus for me. I wanted to see it. It's like going to a museum or something. But it wasn't something that I wanted to indulge in. Because I'm not the type of guy, I can't drop my pants at the drop of a hat. I can't do it. That was something I used to do way back in my Navy days, and the only way I could do it then, hell, we'd be out to sea for so long. I'd be so damn desperate, but I just wasn't raised like that. I'm not some goody two-shoes. I'm just not comfortable on the clock. Even when I first meet a real woman, it takes some time for me to get comfortable and, really be able to enjoy the love making, enjoy the sex. But if it's something that you like, if that's something you're into, there's no better place than Thailand. That's a fact. But I'm just glad to be back home. It was a lot going on, man. I was really stressed. I couldn't sleep for about a week out from that trip. I was worried about that flight. I was worried about how smooth it was. Did I have all the requirements? Was something going to jump out and bite me, especially coming back to the Philippines? But everything went smooth, especially going over there and coming back. I have to give the Philippine immigration, there's only one thing I didn't like coming back into immigration. They ask for your S-Pass about 10 times before you get to the actual S-Pass inspection. They manually inspect it. It was different over in Thailand. They just scanned it and you went on about your business. Here, everybody from the plane had to go into this room and we were one after the other. They had like 6 or 7 agents, but I sat there for 20 minutes. But then once I got to immigration, it was really a breeze, especially leaving the Philippines. It's gotten a lot better with that. Now, I went to Thailand June 19th to June 24th. You needed the Thai pass to be fully vaccinated if you didn't want quarantine. And then $10,000 worth of COVID insurance. From what I've heard and from what I've read, starting July 1st, they're going to scrap all of that. They're going to scrap the Thai pass and the travel insurance. Philippines has already scrapped that. When I came back, all I need to show was when I'm checking in, they ask for my onward ticket. Of course, guys, listen. If you're coming from America, you cannot buy a one-way ticket. You have to have a one-way ticket and an onward ticket. So what I did was I bought my round trip, Philippines, Thailand, Philippines. Then I went on Cebu Pacific and bought a cheap throwaway ticket from Manila to Singapore. I think it was like $60 or something. They asked for that. They asked for my vaccination card, and I showed them my booster. That way I didn't need the negative COVID results. That's all I needed to come back into the Philippines. And the iHealth Pass. But the iHealth Pass has improved tremendously. The minute that you sign up for it, it generates your QR code. There's no waiting. There's no pending anymore. I actually did mine 3 days out. And that's something to keep up here because people are sweating about that. Don't worry about that anymore. They fixed that glitch. But I'm glad that I chose Thailand because it grabbed a hold of me. I was so excited going over there that I didn't think about the plane ride. And then I was so excited to come back to the Philippines that I didn't think about the plane ride. See, that's one of the reasons I hadn't went back home to visit my kids and grandkids. It's all up here, though. Now I know I can just jump on that plane and go on home. I think it's more of me being claustrophobic a little bit on that plane than actually afraid to fly. But yeah, my visa run is over. You know, I want to suggest to the new guys, because I'm going to give a shout out to Mark Rowland, him and Franz. And Franz, I'm sorry, I forgot your last name. He's originally from Haiti, Miami, retired from the military. I believe he's living in Tanzania now. We all went out and had dinner last night. Mark Rowland is going to Thailand, and he's going to hire Mr. Lee. If you're new to Thailand, it's not like Philippines, man. It's so much more to see over there. I kind of suggest, especially if you're going by yourself. Now, if you're going with a group of guys, it's no big deal. If you're going by yourself, or if you're going with your wife, that's different. I would say get Mr. Lee. Not if you're going with your wife, but if you're going by yourself and it's your first time. Because he's cheap, man, and he knows Thailand frontwards and backwards. He's going to take you to all the little ins and out places, all the real mom and pop Thai food places where you're going to bite your tongue. The food is so good. It's going to be more of a local experience rather than a tourist experience, because you can get caught up in that tourist trap over there. Because if it wasn't for Mr. Lee, I would have felt like a 100% tourist over there. And that's a compliment, really, to Thailand. Somebody asked me, because I was only there 4 days, guys, remember. I didn't have a whole lot of time. By the time things was really soaking in, I had to leave. But somebody asked me Pattaya or Bangkok. If you know me, you know I'm going to say Pattaya because I love the beach. Not for that riffraff that's over there. I mean, you know, Soy Six or Hogan Street and all that, man. All that's there. But there's another part of Pattaya, man, that's just unbelievable. If you just go down on that beachfront, you don't want to leave. See, this is the only place. There's only 3 places that I've been to that I never wanted to leave. Philippines, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and Pattaya. Because Bangkok, it's like being in LA or New York or Chicago or something like that. It's on that level. I enjoyed it because it's so much to see. Mr. Lee took us down in the center of Thailand, man, where the palace was. See, you don't see that kind of stuff in Louisville, Kentucky, where I'm from. I mean, it was an actual palace. You see people talk about the wall that I built around my house. That's nothing, man. They've got a wall around that castle. It has to be 30 foot high. And it's just massive. It goes, man, for blocks and blocks all the way around this place. And they got this golden palace. That whole downtown is like dedicated to the kingdom. It's just something that I wasn't used to seeing. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Thailand. And it was quicker. See, I was going to Guam at first. But then the more I thought about it, it's like, I wasn't excited, man. I was like, 4-hour flight, back in the United States, back around that type of thinking that I need to get away from. And I'm not bashing America. I fought for the country. I put my life on the line. But at this stage in my life, I don't need all that. So I'm glad I went to Thailand. I'm glad I was able to bring you guys along with me, but I'm really glad to be back. I mean, Merle was so happy to see me. She was having anxiety attacks when I was gone. It's just, the Philippines is just a place for me. So I feel like home here. I don't feel like a tourist here, even though I'm a foreigner. I'm always going to be an outsider here, no matter how long I stay here. I'm still always going to be seen as a foreigner. It feels like home to me, whereas when I was in Thailand, it felt like I was a tourist. But it gave me an moment. I can always go there, see. If something ever happens here and I have to leave, man, imagine the alternative I've got. I can just get on a plane for 2 hours and 45 minutes or less and be there. And I wouldn't skip a beat because I get me a place right down there by that beach and I just live out my life. Eventually, I would find somebody over there because people always talk about the language barrier. It's really not a barrier over there. There's so many foreigners. I was looking for a cup of coffee. I just stopped a foreigner. Every 5 feet is a foreigner. You just talk to guys over there. That's the reason why I would like it over there. It's different than over here. You don't see that many foreigners. You see a foreigner more than you see a Thai. You come outside, away from the businesses, away from the restaurants and all of that, you're going to see foreigners, men and women from all over the world. It's an international destination. That's why I say you can't compare these two. Philippines is like a retirement destination as far as I'm concerned. One of the best. I put it up here at the top because even though Thailand has soy 6, the Philippines has the tuna. The Filipina is very special for somebody coming from the West. It's a different experience. They may not appreciate it. The men over here may not appreciate it. Of course they do. But I'm saying they may not look at her as this special individual, but Filipinos are special for men coming from the West. And that's what places the Philippines up here on my list. Thailand's up here on my list because it's so exotic. It's a whole lot more exotic than here. But comparing the Philippines to Thailand, I mean, it's not even a given, man. I don't even know why you would do that. It's like comparing, I don't know, peanuts to peanut butter or something like that. But you can't compare two places without bringing them down. Because when you start comparing, you start talking about the negatives instead of the positive. Because if you talk about the positives of both, you'll be like, I'm going to see both. I'm going to enjoy both. And you can. You can enjoy Vietnam, Bali, Malaysia, Jakarta. They're all around here. India, if you want to. But I'm just glad to be back home. I wanted to give my final analysis. Thailand is a must-see place. Even though I was only there 4 days, I put it on the level of excitement as the Philippines for me. Because no place had got me more excited. Imagine you got to get on a plane and fly 20 hours to get to the Philippines. You better be excited when you come over here. Are you in for a big surprise? It's a long ass plane ride. But Thailand excites you just as much, excites me just as much. And it's only 2 hours and 45 minutes away. I'm going to give a shout out to Jeffrey Tatter. Dr. Eric Terry. We had such a good time. He's the type of guy that you want to travel with. Money's no object. He stayed only the best places, only ate the best establishments. Those are the type of people you want to travel with. And of course, Mr. Lee, the Thai guy, the fly guy, he's going to come up right after this. So thank you so much for stopping by today. I really appreciate it. If you're in America, it's late. Before you let your head hit the pillow, please find somebody to help. If you're on one of them late grocery runs, beer runs, weed runs, just getting off second shift, you're on your lunch break, you see somebody out in the street, buy them something to eat, buy them something to drink, give them a few dollars. In the Philippines, it's early, not even 6:30 a.m. yet. I'm up early and we're ready to go to the gym. See, I got my gym attire on. It's be my 3rd day in a row, man. My wrists are back to normal. They're about 99%. I got away from that, man. I had really taken like 3 or 4 months off, and I feel soft. I don't feel myself. I've got to get back to that because it clears my mind. it starts up my creative juices. There's not a day goes by I don't help somebody over here. I was in Thailand. I was telling the guys last Wednesday, and I wasn't able to do my spin wheel like I normally do in the Philippines. So what I did was, we were driving down Soy 6, and I told Mr. Lee to stop, and he'll vouch for you. I rolled down my window, and I pointed at one of the bar girls. I said, hey, come here. I guess she thought I wanted to choose her. She was so shy. She finally come over there. I gave her 1,000 baht, man. She was about ready to faint. She surely was crying. She couldn't believe it. And I was like, why is it such a big deal? He said, because that's one less trick that she has to run tonight. He said, that's a big deal. He said, because the women over here on Soy 6, they got problems. And I didn't know what he was talking about. He was talking about drug problems. Because if I don't know anything else, I know this one thing for sure. When we help other people, we help ourselves. Take care, stay safe, stay COVID free. I'll see you next time. Welcome to my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. I'm sitting here with Mr. Lee, the Thai guy, the fly guy. Just want to introduce y'all to him. If you're in Bangkok, you need a ride, you need a tour guide, he's the one to see. I'm going to put his information in the description. You can call him, negotiate the price with him, but he's trustworthy. He knows where everything is. He knows where the bars are, the nightclubs, the best restaurants, the girls, of course, and he knows his way around Bangkok, Pattaya, and all the places in between. So I'm going to put his information in here. It's just a short video I wanted to do because it's very important for a new guy especially. If you come to Thailand, you need somebody like Mr. Lee. You want to say anything, Mr. Lee?
Yeah, I'm already take care everybody. Good take care.
Yeah. He takes good care of people, man. He took good care of me, man. I want to give a shout out to Jeffrey Tatter over in Okinawa, Japan. He hooked me up with Mr. Lee. So thank y'all so much. And this is Mr. Lee. I'm going to put his information in the description. Give him a call. You won't regret it.
Thank you.